Hi, and welcome to I'll Tell You What's the Truth for August the 10th, 2020. Today we're picking back up on that theme, pray anyway. Now, instead of saying just pray anyway, today we're thinking a little bit more of pray any way. That is, when we talk about how we should pray, well, one of the things we can say is we can pray any way. Any way is a good way to pray. We can pray with, our praying hands or our hands up. We can pray with our heads bowed, our eyes closed, or we can pray with our eyes wide open. We can pray out loud. We can pray to ourselves. We can pray on our knees. We can pray with our head on the pillow. We can pray holding hands. We can pray folding hands. We can pray while we're walking or while we're running or while we're singing or while we're shouting, while we're competing, while we're crying or laughing or washing or shopping. We can pray any way. One of the things about being a parent, especially as your children grow, is you get to experience some of the things you might have liked to experience but didn't when you were a child. For example, our first child was a little boy, and he couldn't even walk, and he had one of those electric football games. Of course, he had that electric football game because when I was a little boy, I used to look in the Sears catalog and see one of those electric football games, and I always wanted one but never had one, you see. All we had was those hockey games up there in Canada. However, I was able to gift him with one of those games, and eventually I think he even realized he had a football game. Another thing that I really enjoyed that I didn't have when I was a kid was Dr. Seuss. The Dr. Seuss books, and reading those Dr. Seuss stories to the children was so much fun. My favorite, of course, is the Sneetches. I just like that story, and I like that message, and it's a message for all time. Another one, of course, I did like was in that same book, and that is Too Many Daves, about the woman who had 23 sons, and she named them all Dave. And I've always thought, you see, that Dr. Seuss was really a grand author for our children. And I think that we probably enjoyed him even more than they did in those days when we were reading all those stories to our children. It was just so much fun to do. You see, and when it comes to prayer and teaching young people to pray, I've often thought that Dr. Seuss had the right idea, maybe just not the right subject. You see, maybe instead of green eggs and ham, maybe it could have been something like this. Say, I like to pray, I do. And I would pray in a boat, and I would pray with a goat. And I would pray in the rain, and in the dark, and on a train. And in a car, and in a tree. Prayer is so good, you see. So I would pray in a box, and I would pray with a fox. And I would pray in a house, and I would pray with a mouse. Say, I would pray here, and I would pray there. Say, I would pray anywhere. Isn't prayer fun? God has called us to pray, to be people of praying, to be people of prayer. Even when we're not sure it'll make a difference. Even when even when we're so uncertain about the future that we don't have any idea what's ahead of us. Why? Because somehow, in some way, prayer always makes a difference. And today that would cause us to pray something like this with a little help from the Psalms. I lift my eyes up to the hills. From where will my help come? My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. He will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. He who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all evil. He will keep your life. the Lord will keep your going out and your coming in from this day forward and forevermore. Amen. Remember, do the best you can. Lean on God. Encourage one another. There it is. Wear your mask. A better day is coming. Shalom.